Good afternoon. Can I get dibs on the whiskey? All right.
Check under your chair.
I have to check under my chair? Well, I appreciate each and every one of you taking time out of your day today to come and have lunch here. I'm excited to share the Coca-Cola story with you. It's a pretty amazing story, and hopefully you get a little bit out of kind of what our transition and our past 4 years have been like for Coca-Cola. So I think where is it? Oh, thank you. So before I start and tell you a little bit about our journey, I always like to start with, and you heard Boo talk about the mothership, Coca-Cola. So let me explain to you a little bit about the Coca-Cola Company and then CocaCola United as a bottler. Because a lot of people are confused about it. A lot of people don't even realize there's two different companies, and by the way, that's what we want. We don't want you to realize there's two different companies. But the Coca-Cola Company is the parent company. They're headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia. And they're responsible for really marketing and research, brand development. They actually produce the concentrate that they sell to us, so that is truly the secret formula. They sell it to us as bottlers so that we can produce. And then they also call on national customers. So think about a customer like Walmart that spans all of North America and beyond. They want one person to call on them, not 50 bottlers, right? So they kind of play that coordination role for us. Now, as a bottler, CocaCola United, which is one of the bottlers, obviously, we actually produce, we distribute, we sell, and we market locally in our communities. So if you think about that process, you probably shouldn't see a whole lot of difference between us and the Coca-Cola Company because they market, we market, right? But what the differentiation is we market locally. So someone sitting in Atlanta, Georgia doesn't understand what crawfish season is. When we ask for graphics for point of sale for crawfish, we get a lobster, and that doesn't really work for us. So we take that upon ourselves, and we get to partner with our partners in the community and really bring our brand to life through your businesses. So that's a little bit about how we go to business. What about our brands? Well, we have a pretty big portfolio of brands, and Stephen, really appreciate all the brands that you have on the tables. But if you look at the change in our business, probably over the last 10 years, as of today, we carry over 750 products. Over 200 of those are low and no calorie products. So we've really changed. And if you look at some of the categories that we compete in, you probably wouldn't even known really that they came off the Coca-Cola truck. So you are aware of Coke and Sprite and Diet Coke and Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. We have Powerade, we have Monster in the energy drink categories, water with Dasani and Smart Water. We have tea with Gold Peak, and we've also gotten into some new categories over the last couple of years. We've gotten into coffee, so we sell Dunkin' Coffee. We're getting ready to launch McCafe Coffee, which is McDonald's brand. We're going to launch in April. And we also are in dairy. So we're selling Yup milk. We're also selling sports protein drinks with Core Power. So our portfolio has grown tremendously, and it really grows because of what consumers demand and what they like to drink. So as our consumers' tastes change and expand, so does our portfolio. So let me tell you a little bit about Coca-Cola United. So Coca-Cola United is based in Birmingham, Alabama. We've been in business since 1902. We are still a family-owned company, so we're the largest privately owned bottler in North America, and we're the third largest bottler in North America altogether. So a pretty large force that we are within the Coca-Cola system. We operate in 7 states in the Southeast. We have 9 production facilities and 54 distribution centers. So if you look at all of that, and I'll talk to you about how we've changed over the years, but that has ended up for us having 10,000 employees. So the journey that we have been on and the growth that we've seen, you may have not have noticed because Coca-Cola United has always had this territory. But about 5 years ago, the Coca-Cola system started on a journey where Coca-Cola Company actually was in the bottling business, and they owned over 40% of the bottling territories within North America, and decided they were going to refranchise those territories because it was the right thing to do. We better serve the customer, we're local with our communities, and it was the right thing to do. So we started refranchising North America and basically selling from the Coca-Cola Company the franchise rights to distribute and sell Coca-Cola back to the franchisees. So we, as CocaCola United, got to expand our territory. So you'll see in the top left-hand corner in 2014, the red sections of this were the original CocaCola United territory. So we had areas in Louisiana and Mississippi, South Carolina, Georgia, and parts of Tennessee. In 2014, we basically acquired most of the remainder of the state of Alabama. In 2015 and 2016, we acquired the remainder of the state of Louisiana, with the exception of a really small slice in Minden, Louisiana. So now we have all of the state of Louisiana, as well as Tallahassee and Valdosta. And then in 2017, which was a really big year for us, we actually acquired the remainder of the state of Georgia, which included Atlanta, which is the home of Mother Coke, as Boo says, which is an interesting territory to run, which I've done before, so that's why I moved south. And then just recently in October, we finished off our transition work with acquisition of more areas in South Mississippi, Mobile, Gulf Shores, Panama City, and the remainder of South Georgia. So it's been a busy 4 years for us, but our company has grown obviously 3.5 times the size that it was just 4 years ago. So we've been pretty busy. And we're really thrilled to have all of this territory. We call it kind of the heartland of Coca-Cola because we do have a very strong share in our categories in which we compete in these territories. And just to put it in perspective, our region, the West region that I run, we have 3 for the company, is larger than our company used to be just 4 years ago. So pretty amazing path that we've been on. So you can see here again, we've grown 3.5 times. We went from nearly 3,000 associates to 10,000. We went from 18 sales centers to 54. Went from 3 to 9 production facilities and went from 58 million cases to 205 million cases. So quite a growth trajectory that we've been on. So what does this all mean to us sitting here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and Louisiana in general? Well, we've been in business in Baton Rouge since 1906. So we've been here for a really long time. And now that we have the whole state, you'll see on the screen that we have about 2,500 employees. We also have 8 facilities. We have 2 production facilities. We produce about 53 million cases in those 2 production facilities, which are located in Baton Rouge as well as New Orleans. We produce sparkling beverages. We produce water. We produce Powerade. So we have a wide array of beverages that we support. The other thing I would tell you I'm very proud of to be part of this company is we are very connected with our community. So part of being a local bottler is the fact that we can connect more deeply with our communities and with organizations such as the Salvation Army, United Way, local marathons that we have. So we give back about $6 million a year within the state of Louisiana, and that could come in the form of sponsorships, but more so product, banners, our time that we give with organizations like Junior Achievement, because it's a very important part of who we are as a company and how we want to portray our brand. So this is a little bit about us in Louisiana. So again, Boo asked that I give you a little bit about our journey, because I believe most of you probably wouldn't know kind of the growth path and the changes that we've been on. And I would tell you that we couldn't have been on that path without having partners like you for all the years that we've had with our associates, our brands, and then our partners in the communities to support us. So thank you for allowing us to get bigger. Now, Boo also asked that I talk to you a little bit about diversity. As you heard Boo talk to earlier, is my path in Coca-Cola was a little bit untraditional, if you will. And I couldn't have done it without the support that the Coca-Cola system puts on diversity, which really helped me in my career path. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that. But before I do, I wanted to show you a video that I really think encompasses who we are as a Coca-Cola system and what diversity means to us.
She and her and me.
And them. There's a different Coke for all of us.
Especially one for him.
No feet have wandered where you walked.
No eyes saw what you've seen.
No one's lived the life you live.
No head has held your dreams.
To act the same would be mundane.
What a boring thing to do. That's why there is just one me.
And a billion unique yous.
We all have different looks and loves.
Likes and dislikes too.
But there's a Coke for we.
And us.
And there's a Coke for you.
So I love that video. I think it really embodies the vision that we have as a Coca-Cola system for diversity and inclusion. And basically, that is to attract, develop, and retain talent that mirrors our marketplace, our communities, and our consumers. So that is really the mission that we have at Coca-Cola. And I really think that video portrays it. And the way that we look at diversity and the importance of diversity in our system is that with diversity, whether it be race, gender, experience, thought, it's going to make you stronger. It's going to give you a competitive edge. It's going to allow you probably to be more innovative in the way you think. And it's a part of our business that allows us, I think, to be stronger and stronger every year. So let me talk to you a little bit about the steps that we take in diversity, and what I would tell you is really important, and how we carry out that mission. I'm not going to talk to you about how we recruit talent, because I think the important thing is once you get talent into your organization, is how do you really keep that talent and develop the talent and ensure that they stay with you for a long time and they want to retire with the company. The first thing is mentorship, and I think mentorship is very important. For us as leaders to really give an intimate leadership and coaching experience to our associates. I had 3 very key mentors to me in my career, and I can tell you I probably wouldn't be where I am today if I did not have those mentors that were guiding me through that path. As a mentor, my mentees teach me a lot too. So what they teach me is, how I need to look at the business differently, things that they run into obstacles or bias they may run into, and it keeps us connected with the business. But it allows us to give pretty intimate coaching to associates and give them experiences that they probably never would have had if we didn't take the time out of our day to be a mentor. Next, really looking at development. Development is a huge key to making sure that we take talented associates and we make them great leaders. And the way that we do that in the Coca-Cola system is that we do give performance reviews every year like most other companies do. We build development plans so that we can give them ideas of what they're doing well and what they may need to hone their skills in on so they can advance and hit their career goals within their aspirations. And then lastly, within development is we also have to give them opportunity. And this to me is the most key thing, because if you bring talent into your organization and you take the time to mentor them, you take the time to develop them, and then you don't have opportunity in your organization, they're going to leave. And you spend a lot of time and effort really building their leadership, and then the next company is going to really thank you for that. And what I would tell you is that I feel really confident and really bullish about the CocaCola United system and Coca-Cola system in general, quite frankly, because when we've gotten bigger, think about the opportunity that we've just afforded to all of our associates. 7 states, a corporate structure, a region structure, a division structure, just numerous areas and avenues that they can pursue in their career aspirations. So that, to me, the opportunity is really key for us. Sorry about that. So let me give you an example of how the Coca-Cola mission of diversity and inclusion really played out for a little girl from New Iberia, Louisiana, who was fortunate enough to have a really great career. I had the opportunity to work for 3 bottlers in my 22-year career. And I started out in New Orleans, Louisiana, spent a 10-year stint in Atlanta, and got to travel across North America and got to travel internationally for Coca-Cola. And then I was fortunate enough to come back to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which made me really happy because I was coming back home. And I worked hard, and I, took chances, and I really, really focused on my development. But the key thing to me, and I mentioned it before, was the mentors that I had, and the fact that they gave me some really good feedback, some really good opportunities, and some really harsh feedback on things that I needed to do to achieve my career aspirations, which I appreciated. The thing that always sticks out for me, and what my mentors did for me, is they took risk. They gave me opportunity, but they also took risk on me. And I'll tell you a real short story. The one that I remember most vividly is I was sitting in my office in Atlanta, Georgia, and at the time I was the vice president of sales, and I was calling on customers up and down the East Coast. And my senior vice president came in my office and said, "Susanne, I want you to be the vice president of operations." And so I sat there for a second. I said, "Okay." And he said, I have confidence in you. I've seen something in you. I think you're a great leader. I know you can learn it. I know it's not, a traditional path for you, but I have your back. I'm not going to let you fail. So that was important. He said he had my back and he wasn't going to let me fail. So operations for us is selling, it's distribution, it's warehouse. So think about, now I have to go in a fleet shop. I have to be in a warehouse. I'm talking to drivers and merchandisers all day long. I had never stepped foot in a warehouse. I didn't, other than knowing there was product in there and somehow it got on the truck, I had no idea how to run that warehouse. And they gave me 13 distribution centers. That was a risk. And they were willing to give me the opportunity and take a risk on me. And I'm thankful for that to this day because I love my job. I can't imagine taking any other path. I can't imagine not being able to talk to our frontline associates every day and really hearing how much they love working for our company and love talking to the customers. It's been a tremendously rewarding career for me, and I'm very appreciative of that. So I tell you all that to say, make sure that you're kind of doing the same things in your organization. I think your organizations will be stronger for it. I think it'll be rewarding when you get to see associates that flourish and do things they probably never dreamed they could do. I can tell you I'm a living example of that. When I started out with Coca-Cola in an internal audit and wound up as the largest female operator in the Coca-Cola system when I was in Atlanta, Georgia, I didn't have a clue that would be my career path, but I sure am glad it is, and I'm sure I'm glad that I had people that cared enough about me, and my company cared enough about me to take a chance. So thank you for taking time today. We really appreciate all the partnership that we have with all of you in the room, because I'm sure that our brands, our associates, have probably touched you in some way, whether we do business with you, whether you drink our products, I hope, and you drink a lot of them. We want to thank you for being such a supportive community. So I don't know, Boo, if we have time for questions. If we do, I'll be happy to take any.
Hold those questions till the microphone gets to you, please. Hang on, Fred. He's coming.
You talked a lot about the sourcing of the syrup from the mothership. Tell us about the containers. Where do you source those? How does the labeling process work? How does all that come together?
Yeah, we source, so can bodies, the PET bottles, the labels. We have suppliers that we get those from throughout the country. I think our can suppliers in Houston, so forth and so on. We actually we're doing some capital improvements to our location here in Baton Rouge where we're going to start blowing our own bottles. So, so that's kind of a new entrant for us into production. But everything else, and it comes from many different locations. But all the rest of the packaging material, if you will, is also shipped in. For now.
Yeah, the new facility opened, I guess it's not new anymore. But,
9 years.
When that facility opened, we heard it was the first time that the CEO of Coca-Cola and the CEO of Dr. Pepper were on the same dais, if you will. Tell us about that. Where does that come from? Where it's a competitor to the mothership, but it's still something you guys distribute?
So Dr. Pepper is very similar to Coca-Cola, where there's a parent company, Dr. Pepper, which is in Plano, Texas, and they franchise out the rights to distribute it. So, which makes it even more confusing because we distribute and have the franchise rights for Dr. Pepper here in Baton Rouge, but we don't have them in New Iberia and Lafayette. So just because you're a Coca-Cola bottler here doesn't mean that you're a Dr. Pepper bottler here doesn't mean you're a Dr. Pepper bottler everywhere. So they franchise out the rights the same way the Coca-Cola Company does, but they don't mirror, the territories and franchises don't mirror each other, which makes it even more confusing for our customers. So hopefully that answered your question, John Paul? Yeah.
Susanne, as a finance person, when you made that transition from accounting and finance into sales and operations, how did that conflict, because those are two opposing, and I'm a finance, so how did you transition into that?
So, well, first of all, I'll tell everybody I saw the payroll. But for me, it was interesting because, again, chances, right? I had a chance. I was sales analysis manager. I was in New Orleans, and I was the numbers person. So I was pulling all the numbers for our sales team, and I was working with the vice president of sales, and I told him one day, I was building presentations for them to go to customers, and I told him one day, I said, I sure would love to come on a call with you. And he said, okay, you come on a call with me. So the first time I attended the call, and then the next time I led the call. So he gave me the opportunity to kind of step out of my position and step out of my comfort zone, if you will. But I was pretty proactive in telling him I wanted to be part of that sales call. So it is a little bit different, but I got to tell you, after I got out of college and I was sitting in an accounting firm doing tax returns, I knew I had to do something else.
Susanne, what's the projection of the growth of stevia in Coke products?
The projection of stevia, I don't know. We really don't project stevia. We don't project the sweeteners, if you will. What I can tell you is the products that we're coming out with certainly have more stevia in them than they used to. So we still have products that have a balance of sweeteners in them, whether it's stevia or Ace K and things like that. So, but if you look at Coke Life as an example, I don't know if you've ever tasted Coke Life, but it is stevia based. And this is a brand we came out with probably 3 years ago. So you'll see more brands like that will come out with, but we don't really forecast on the types of sweeteners we use.
Got a question about your water source. Do y'all get it from a well in Baton Rouge? And if you do, are y'all getting involved with any of these concerns about the salt water intrusion to our table here?
We do. Our water, we have 2 wells on site that we use for production. I'm not sure about our involvement in the salt water movement. I'd love to hear more about it, but we do get our water from the wells that are sitting on site.
Hi, Suzanne. I want to tell you that we knew each other already a little bit in business. And I'm very impressed with your journey through Coke. I love Coca-Cola products. But I love your speech today, and with me being another woman in business and just seeing what you've done, it has really impressed me and inspired me.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Lynn.
So could you talk a little bit about how the people's tastes are changing from, you know, the sugary drinks to obviously some of the reasons you've broadened your product slate?
Sure, I'd love to. You know, it's as I spoke to previously, over the years it's changed. And we continue to see it change, and we'll innovate and add products as it does change. The Millennials, so I'll talk about Millennials a little bit. Their tastes are really different than mine and some of yours may be. So we're having to come out with products that hit their taste profile, and they're a lot more, we call them pungent flavors. So we just came out with Diet Coke Recast, which is a Diet Coke. There's a mango, there's a spicy cherry, there's a ginger lime. Those types of flavors are really segmented to the millennials because they like a lot of flavor. So that's an example of the type of changes that we're having to make in our portfolio to make sure we keep those consumers in our portfolio and we have a beverage for everybody's taste. And then
How do stores stock all that?
I'm gonna let John Nolan answer that. Well, we actually have to change our sets. So if you go on a store set, we'll have to change our sets to accommodate all the brands that we do have. But the good news is that a lot of the brands that we're coming out with are not necessarily all in the same category. So if you look at the way a store is merchandised, it's merchandised in different categories, coffee categories in one section, energy may be in another section, sparkling soft drinks. So that spreads it out a little bit. But we'll go through our portfolio and we'll look to see what's selling, and things that aren't selling we'll discontinue. So, where's Sherry? We're not going to discontinue Tab because I've already got that message. But we will discontinue things that aren't selling to put in new products so that we can change our portfolio.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so can you elaborate a little bit on how the growth of Coca-Cola United is translating into, capital investment here at the bottling facility, to kind of piggyback on what Fred was talking about, the capital improvements with blowing your own bottles. How much are y'all going to be spending on that? And with all these new products, or besides just the water and the Coke products, are y'all doing the milk products here and the power shakes? And will y'all be investing in the facility here to be able to do that?
Yeah, we don't produce the dairy here. We actually get dairy from somewhere else. But so we have, since the transition started in the state of Louisiana, we've probably invested about $28 million of capital. So whether it be in New Orleans, we added 12 dock doors when we transitioned. We have cranes. The New Orleans warehouse is a high-rise, so it's actually a 10-story warehouse, and we had to replace 4 cranes that take the product up and down in the warehouse. So we've done that. And actually here in Baton Rouge, even though this was already an existing facility, we've grown so much, it's grown our region, our division staff. We had to build a whole new wing of offices here for us to do that and to keep up with it. Now, on the production side, well, one other thing, in Monroe, Louisiana, too, we put about $7 million in the facility we acquired there. As far as the production side goes, we've had to invest capital also included in that $28 million with the new packages we came out with. I talked about Diet Coke Recast a minute ago. It's a long, slender can. We call it a slim can. Well, we have to get change parts to be able to run those types of things. So that's part of the investment as well, that we're investing in change parts so that we can make all of these different packages, as well as blowing our own bottles. So hopefully that answered your question.
Is the Woodruff family in Atlanta still involved in the active management of the company over there?
They're not. I will tell you, though, from a family perspective with CocaCola United, we still obviously we're in the 5th generation of family members that are running the company. So we have 3 lineal descendants of the founder of our company in 1902 that are in upper management. So we still have family descendants, obviously, that are in our company.
Suzanne, with the newer plant being that green building and the commitment to the environment that they made in blowing your own bottles, so many other states have deposits on bottles and cans and return them to the grocery stores. Is there any foreseeable future in that here in Baton Rouge, that those bottles that you're blowing may be going back to the plant?
Going back to the to recycle. Oh, yes. So our bottles are recyclable. You know, from a deposit standpoint, and I've led territories that have deposits, taxes in the state, and it's, you know, it actually winds up costing the state more money because, you know, it's cumbersome, and because it kind of hampers the price points in the market, right? Plus, we have recycling programs here, which makes it beneficial, and we wouldn't need. But I don't see that the blowing and the deposits would have anything would change anything necessarily. What I do see is that from an environmental perspective, it helps us to blow our own bottles here because we're not transporting empty bottles all over the country. So there's the green footprint part of that is the fact that we don't have to do that, and it's better for the environment that way. And then in addition to that, our bottles are recyclable.